Hey guys, welcome to Medifaction. Today we will learn about the anatomy of thyroid gland. The thyroid gland is, as you can see here, is a butterfly-shaped organ located in the base of your neck. It releases hormones that control metabolism, the way your body uses energy. In this video, I will be enumerating an introduction about thyroid gland, situation and extent of thyroid gland and its dimensions and weight as well. We will also discuss about the capsules of thyroid gland, parts and relations, arterial supply, venous drainage, lymphatic drainage, nerve supply and some important clinical anatomy. Introduction. The thyroid gland, which is an endocrine gland, is situated in the lower part of the front and sides of the neck. It regulates the basal metabolic rate, stimulates somatic and psychic growth, and also plays an important role in calcium metabolism. This right here is the thyroid gland. Situation and extent. The gland lies against C5 to T1 vertebrae, embracing the upper part of the trachea. Each lobe extends from the middle of thyroid cartilage. Here you can see the thyroid cartilage till the fourth or fifth tracheal ring right here. The isthmus right here, this is the isthmus, extends from the second to the fourth tracheal ring. Now let's move on to the dimensions and weight. Each lobe measures about 5 by 2.5 by 2.5 centimeters and the isthmus right here measures about 1.2 by 1.2 centimeter. On an average, the gland weighs about 25 grams. However, it is larger in females than in males and further increases in size during menstruation and also pregnancy. Capsules of thyroid. Number 1. The true capsule. It is nothing but the peripheral condensation of the connective tissue of the gland. This right here is the true capsule. Number 2 is the false capsule. It is derived from the pretracheal layer of the deep cervical fascia. It is thin along the posterior border of the lobes but thick on the inner surface of the gland where it forms a suspensory ligament known as ligament of Berry, which connects the lobe into the cricoid cartilage. So this is the glandular substance and this is the venous plexus, and for the thyroid gland the true capsule comes above it and after that there comes the false capsule. So this figure helps you to identify the location and extent of thyroid gland. Now let's move on to the parts and relations of thyroid gland. The lobes are conical in shape and it has an apex right here, a base, and it possesses three surfaces which are lateral, medial and posterolateral, and it also has two borders which are anterior and posterior. The apex is directed upwards and is slightly lateral. It is limited superiorly by the attachment of sternothyroid to the oblique line of thyroid cartilage. The apex is related to superior thyroid artery and external laryngeal nerve. This right here is the external laryngeal nerve and near to it we can appreciate the superior thyroid artery. Let's move on. The base is at the level of fourth or fifth tracheal ring, right here. It is related to inferior thyroid artery and also recurrent laryngeal nerve. This right here is the recurrent laryngeal nerve, and beside to it we can appreciate inferior thyroid artery as well. The lateral or superficial surface is convex and is covered by the sternohyoid. Right here is the sternohyoid muscle. Also, the superior belly of omohyoid. Right here we can appreciate the superior belly of omohyoid and also the sternothyroid muscle. Right here is the sternothyroid. Also, the anterior border of the sternocleidomastoid can be observed. This right here is the anterior border of sternocleidomastoid. So these all muscles covers the lateral or superficial convex surface of the thyroid gland. Moving on to the medial surface, it has two tubes which are the trachea and esophagus. Also two muscles which are inferior constrictor and cricothyroid muscle. Also two nerves which are the external laryngeal nerve and the recurrent laryngeal nerve. The posterolateral or posterior surface is related to the carotid sheath and it overlaps the common carotid artery. The anterior border is thin and is related to the anterior branch of superior thyroid artery. The posterior border is thick and rounded and separates the medial and posterior surfaces. It is related to inferior thyroid artery, anastomosis between the posterior branch of superior and ascending branch of inferior thyroid arteries, also parathyroid gland and thoracic duct only on the left side. The isthmus connects the lower part of the two lobes, and the isthmus has two surfaces which are anterior and posterior surface. This is the isthmus, and it also has two borders which are superior and inferior. The anterior surface is covered by the right and left sternothyroid and sternohyoid muscle right here, and it also has the anterior jugular veins and obviously the fascia and the skin. The posterior surface is related to the second to fourth tracheal rings. The upper border is related to anterior branches of the right and left superior thyroid arteries which anastomose here. Lower border. Inferior thyroid veins leave the gland at this border. Now let's learn about the arterial supply. The thyroid gland is supplied by the superior and inferior thyroid arteries. This right here is the superior thyroid artery arising from the external carotid artery, and the inferior thyroid artery is right here. Venous drainage. The thyroid is drained by the superior, middle and inferior thyroid veins. This one right here is the superior thyroid vein. Here you can appreciate the middle thyroid veins, and also the inferior thyroid vein can be appreciated right here. Lymphatic drainage. Lymph from the upper part of the gland reaches the upper deep cervical lymph nodes either directly or through the pre-laryngeal nodes. Lymph from the lower part of the gland drains to the lower deep cervical nodes directly and also through the pretracheal and paratracheal nodes. Nerve supply of the thyroid gland. Nerves are derived mainly from the middle cervical ganglion and partly from the superior and inferior cervical ganglia. These are vasoconstrictor. Now let's move on to some important clinical anatomy. Number 1. Any swelling on the thyroid gland, goiter, should be palpated from behind. Number 2. Removal of the thyroid, known as thyroidectomy, with true capsule may be necessary in case of hyperthyroidism. Number 3. In subtotal thyroidectomy, the posterior parts of both lobes are left behind. This avoids the risk of simultaneous removal of parathyroids and also postoperative myxedema caused by deficiency of thyroid hormones. Number 4. During thyroidectomy, the superior thyroid artery is ligated near the gland to save the external laryngeal nerve, and the inferior thyroid artery is ligated away from the gland to save the recurrent laryngeal nerve. Number 5. Hypothyroidism causes cretinism in infants and myxedema in adults. Number 6. Benign tumors of the gland may displace and even compress neighboring structures like the carotid sheath, the trachea, etc. Malignant growths tend to invade and erode neighboring structures as well. Pressure symptoms and nerve involvements are common in carcinoma of the glands. Hope you have understood the video. Like, subscribe and press the bell button for more videos. Thank you. Thanks for watching.